Well, Kelly's Court is back in session on the docket today. Marijuana is now legal in 2 states, but don't break out the Cheetos just yet. That's according to the governor of Colorado after voters in his state, and Washington state for that matter, approved referendum legalizing pot. The new laws allow anyone at least 21 years old to carry up to an ounce of weed, but that is still against the law at the federal level, and the Federal Drug Enforcement Agency isn't happy. Joining me now, Jonas Bilbor, former prosecutor, now defense attorney, Arthur Aidala, former prosecutor, now defense attorney, and they are going to explain whether it is okay to toke up now in these 2 states or not. You got to love the governor of Colorado, right? Don't bust out the Cheetos or the goldfish just yet, he says, because it's still illegal under federal law. So you tell me, Arthur, how they can toke up out in Colorado and Washington state.
You're very familiar with a lot of these terms. Whatever, I'll just leave that alone. It should be known the governor was against this. The electorate came out 56% for it in a state where marijuana use amongst children is actually going down, and they're on this plight to be the healthiest state in the nation. But let's talk about reality. Let's talk about the federal government prosecuting people who have 28 grams, 1 ounce of marijuana. It doesn't happen. I mean, anybody knows that the Fed, the FBI, they're not doing street bus, corner bus. Yeah. This would have to go into effect by the distributors. So what's going to happen is they will try to set up some sort of a distribution program, and then the federal government will take whatever actions they're going to take. But here's the rub. This is already going on in California with medical marijuana. Medical marijuana, there's no provision in the federal law, or there's this kind of marijuana or that kind. No, in the federal law, it's marijuana, period. And they are allowing California, the state government, to distribute medical marijuana. Holder wrote a letter saying we will viciously or strongly oppose this and prosecute this. They've done nothing. So my answer to you, Your Honor, is that let's look at what's been past behavior as to predict future behavior.
Past is prologue, as they say. Jana, how can they do it?
How can the feds do it?
Yeah, no. How can Colorado basically thumb its nose? See, now, yeah. No, when you do it with the thumb, Arthur, it doesn't mean what you say it means in Italian, right? That changes the meaning. It's only when you have the full hand.
Completely.
Listen, you're Italian, you know.
I know, I'm just clearing. See, I think the thumb changes everything, so it's sort of like, hey. You don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, sorry. So, John, how can Colorado pass a law like this when you've got a federal law that says that pot is illegal?
Mm-hmm. Well, they're running a big risk, and Arthur basically made my argument because the federal law, I don't want to say it trumps state law.
It does, though.
But anybody who's walking down the street smoking a joint and a federal agent wants to arrest them, they can, and then that person could go to federal jail for a year. When, for example, in New York, let's say you get caught. UPM, unlawful possession of marijuana in New York, you're going to get a slap on the wrist and a $50 fine. But if the feds catch you, it's bye-bye. So this is not a victory for all the Cheech and Chong aficionados in Colorado and Washington. It's not.
What it is, though, because look,
the Cheech and Chong aficionados.
Am I dating myself now?
The argument has to do with, is marijuana a gateway drug to other drugs? Is this going to be, and is it going to get in the hands of children?
Yeah.
And if they are allowed for some period of time to get this marijuana out there without worrying about the state police, the local governments arresting them, and if there is no spike in crime, if there is no spike in younger people using marijuana, then they'll have a stronger argument to say, look, everyone's been doing this illegally. Now it's legal. It's out there. Has there been more burglaries? Have there been more robberies? No. What has happened? We've gotten more taxes collected. Now, if the other way
and there's been a run on Cheetos. I want to ask you, Jana, before we have to go, can the feds withhold funds from Colorado and Washington State on other programs if they don't do this?
You bet. And they do it all the time. They do it in every other state. And again, just because we're in New York, if you get caught with marijuana in New York, you're not going to get any federal student loans. Of course they're going to withhold the bucks in these states. It's really a dumb idea.
If they choose to, Megan, there's also limited resources. We got people trying to bomb us, trying to blow us up.
That's why they're not going to be busting people on the corner.
But yeah, it's going to come up when somebody gets busted for something else, and they've got pot on them in Colorado, and the feds are going to say, I think I will make a federal case out of it. Panel, thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.